Hello everyone. I'm doing this short little video to discuss about office design today in a hybrid world. So I wanted to do this video because it's going to be much easier to explain my point of view on the matter. And to start, I did a little presentation. I'm going to kind of give my insight on my experience for the past 20 years and actually raise also some questions, maybe not necessarily provide answers. All right, so let's look at this. So basically, 20 years ago, we started seeing open offices. It was a big new trend, and every company started doing that. And at the first, at first glimpse, everybody thought it was a good idea because it will favor communication, and people are going to be closer together. It's going to be better for team spirit, and so on. But a few things came out of this that were not so great. And the first one was that actually, by putting all of the meeting rooms around in the management office, you basically have no windows. So the way this is designed is basically you have a room and you have all of your meeting rooms and your management offices around like this, and basically you're blocking all the windows, and then you put everyone inside here together, which basically feels very claustrophobic. Other problems that arise with that were basically the noise from the fans, the noise from the computers, a lot of traffic, people going by and bothering you. And every time someone talks to another person, like an artistic director or creative director, and gives directions, everybody hears it. So it ended up being flawed for many reasons. And one of them is also that everybody ended up working with earphones because it's too loud and it's not very comfortable. So it's not a very great environment, but they kind of evolved from this, and now we're seeing like somewhat of newer environments, which are much better, and they've improved a few things. So first of all, they've made it much brighter. So you'll see in the newer designs a lot of things like lights, a lot more lights, make it more lit, more not necessarily colorful, but more bright. And one of the things also you'll see is now that the windows can be seen, and they basically did that by changing one major thing. Is quite simple, is putting pretty much all of the meeting rooms in the middle and putting the staff all around. So now your windows are accessible, it gives a lot of visibility, feels less claustrophobic, it's much better in that sense. Now, by putting the meeting room also in the middle, it brings the traffic and the people together instead of scattering them to the edges. It brings people together. So again, if I'm going to a meeting, I'll see one of my friends going, we meet, we know where we're going, instead of taking people and scattering them in meeting rooms that were before in the outer layer or the surrounding place. Also, one thing they're doing more and more is per team section. So yes, it's good for communication to be in kind of a semi-open environment, but you want to divide and your teams in a little bit of a way, either by using like 3/4 walls like this that still doesn't give you the impression that you're completely enclosed, but giving you a bit of a closure for sound. And also by creating like meeting rooms in the middle, you can also divide the space like this. Still, there's little windows here and there just to give it a more interesting look. And you can also see that the walls are kind of bright too. They're not completely opaque. So this also dividing the teams in sections is good, because you can have your modeling team here, your 3D modeling team. And if you have that, these are concerned by modeling. So if everybody talks in here about modeling, well, it makes sense. And then you have your texture guys here, or gals, and then these talk about textures and the texture projects, so they don't interfere with modeling and so forth. So per team sections is also the way they're going. Also rest areas like this included in the environment, or different ways to work, like instead of working at a desk, offering different dynamics in terms of what you offer in terms of space, or how you sit, or how you just behave differently. Windows also are dividers, so not only do you use walls, but they use windows a lot to keep, the things to divide, to break the sound, but to keep vision, to keep it, not claustrophobic. And also one thing that a lot of people don't notice are the sound absorbing roofs and surfaces. So a lot of the surfaces here are made to break sound so that the sound doesn't reverberate too much. So again, tempering sound. So this is where we're at right now. These are all good ideas here that we can consider, obviously. But then again, one of the things that arose in the past years is being able to work at home. And this has especially exploded with the COVID. So it's a really different dynamic. And now this arises more questions, and why should I go to the office? And as an example, we can see here my home office. So as you can notice, I have it might not seem that big, but if you look at my keyboard here, this is like basically a 50-inch monitor, 4K. So this is like 4 full HD screens together, and then I have a tablet for drawing or writing down stuff, and I have a gaming monitor that's ultra wide. So I have a lot of surface to work with, and this brings out a lot of questions and a lot of statements. First of all, you can personalize your space. It's your space, it's your office at home. Nowadays, pretty much everyone can have a supercomputer and crazy monitors. It wasn't the case 10 years or 20 years ago because it was expensive. Now a lot of people have gaming computers, very powerful computers. So again, why would I go to work at the office on a laptop with a 13-inch screen or monitor when I can have this much surface to work on at home? Sound controlled area. This is the main thing. If you have a sound controlled area, well, it's my environment. So basically I put the music I want. There's nobody bothering me, nobody yelling. I'm in my sound controlled area. No interruptions or people bothering me. So when I'm focused and I'm working, there's not someone coming in my office or telling me a joke or making noise or interrupting me. So you control much more the flow of communication also, and no commuting. Oh yeah, just want to add something here about people bothering me. By working at a distance, it forces people to structure themselves. So it forces management and people to structure themselves instead of, waiting at the last minute and just going to your office and going, oh, I need this now. Since there's a distance and you need to communicate with a certain distance, you need to properly prepare yourself. So working at home and working from different spaces really force people to be structured. They should be more structured. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. The other thing is no commuting, no traffic, no waiting in line or being stuck in traffic for hours. And that again is something that I would be talking about for the past 20 years. And my friends would be like, oh, you know what? It's not a big deal. It's an hour or an hour and a half in the morning, an hour and a half in the evening. It's me time. I listen to radio. But in the end, they realized pretty much that, 2 hours a day, it's 10 hours a week. And basically 10 hours is a lot. You can do your laundry, you can do whatever you want and do what you need. So your weekend, you have it off completely. You don't have to do like clean up or laundry or go do, you can pretty much put everything in that 10 hours of commuting. And that's a lot. A lot of people don't consider it, but it's important. Also, one thing important about house office or home office is I can rest in my personal space. So let's say I'm working and in the afternoon at 3, I'm very tired. I'm like, oh man, this is hard. I feel brain damage. I can get up, go to my bed, sleep for 30 minutes, or I can rest in front of the TV, go for a walk, whatever. It's my environment. I'm not sure I could go in a bed and doze off for half an hour in a work environment. Maybe. That's a good question, actually. Maybe we could. But generally, it's not offered. And yeah, you can combine down time, with home chores. Well, basically, if I start a render and I have to wait 15 minutes for the render, or I'm compiling code or whatever, and it says, oh, you got to wait 10 minutes. Well, I can get up, go do the dishes or do whatever. So it's really, again, about optimizing time. And there's a lot of more advantages. But just there, you get a lot of statements that are pretty considerable. That if you compare that to your office, then the question arises, basically what are you offering? Like, you want me to go to an office, but what are you offering more than I don't have at home? And then if you're saying, well, you need to come to the office because we need you at the office, that's kind of a cyclic reasoning. It's a cycling logic. It doesn't go anywhere. So I think the question to start asking is like, what are we offering to people when they come working at the office? 20 years ago, you could say, oh, you have a supercomputer, you have an ergonomic chair, you have better tools. but it's less and less true. Actually, it's quite the opposite. I'm starting to see that people have much more comfortable in performing in customized environments at home, and when they get to work, it's like shitty computers or unadapted space. So again, what are we offering? And that's a good question. So companies in the tech industry started looking to that and say, okay, can we do something differently here? Can we maybe do something more original, better, fun, like including fun, like a slide or something, maybe giving a more productive area, more productive tools that they can't afford at home. So this is also something important to consider. Maybe an environment also that would be expensive to do at home, like beautiful colors or paintings or stuff like that would be expensive. Can we give them a better environment and also more productive environment? And yeah, something you can't find at home, it's really important. I don't think I could do this at home. I couldn't do like a inside garden at home. So giving an environment that cannot be created at home is a big, important thing, And more peaceful and stress-free also environment, If I'm at home, I'm concentrated, controlled environment, I get to work, it's noisy, everybody's like, shouting, and it's like ventilation, and it's chaos, then why not? So they started doing also more peaceful and stress-free environment, or at least providing certain rest areas or stuff like that that are better than what you can get at home. Now I'll end this by just setting a question. What if being at the office is simply not being at the office? I'm asking that question because I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think that the future lies more in something that would be like going to the office is more about connecting, being together. So I think for these reasons, going at the office should not necessarily be going at the office. And I don't mean staying at home. I mean doing like retreats or going to activities, or for example, let's go on Fridays, let's get everyone to the cinema and do a 1 hour meeting before that in the hall, who cares, somewhere in there, let's just sit around and talk about review our week, say what went well, what did not go well, sorry. So what did go well, what didn't go well, and let's review processes and talk about strategy and see if everyone's on their best behavior and everybody's good and everybody's feeling great, and if work is being done. And let's do this 1 hour, 2 hour meeting, and just brief everyone, review everything, and then let's go watch a movie together or do ski or do something like that. So I'm not necessarily saying this is the best idea, but I'm picking my brain around this, and I think that should be something more like, I think that's more of the future of the office space. So, I say the office, it's not necessarily the office, but the way we get together in a hybrid method. So there you go, a bit of a long presentation, but that's what I had to say, so I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.